Suave on the track.
Whatever it takes. Alleyway.
Coco, this your season right now.
They won't see me. They won't let me yeah. I gotta sleep with one eye open, tripping making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the strap. I know the odds wanna murder. I got a feeling, keep my stomach paranoid. Yeah. I won't let them They won't see me. Yeah. I gotta sleep with one eye open, tripping making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the strap. I know the odds wanna murder. I got a feeling, keep my stomach paranoid. Yeah. I can't let them They won't see me. Yeah. I put attention, all of my blood, all of my veins. They started with perky, now that hair by numbers veins. You started with serving, now them drugs drove you insane. Started with dealing, I grew up with killers, they taught me the game. I got some niggas that die behind, and that shit won't never the same. I know some niggas that lie behind, and that bullet had his name. Ain't no reason to cry about, cause that shit won't never change. MTF the 4th and P, my niggas can't get out the game. I gotta sleep with one eye open, tripping making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the stern. I know the odds wanna murder. I got a feeling, keep my stomach paranoid. Yeah. I won't let them They won't see me. Yeah. I gotta sleep with one eye open, tripping making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the stern. I know the odds wanna murder. I got a feeling, keep my stomach paranoid. Yeah. I can't let them They won't see me. Yeah.
Lost see, I glossed to we shit ain't been the same. Heard the ops talking to the feds, giving names. Who gon' feed my family if they take me out the game? Keep one in the head and one eye open, that ain't change. I'm quick to catch a body. When I shoot, he shoot, I know bro shooting right beside me. Them hollow tips go through the wall and then they hit his body.
Niggas died at 65.
Yeah. Hey man, all I'm saying is, nigga, you always got something to say. It's like you don't shut up.
Blazing on the track.
A lot of niggas died 1865. Single Michael fled highway, ain't gon' let it ride. Everybody hollering black was never on your side. They do maps to tell your apps where you sleep at night. They put that white man on. Got you begging them for answers like that white man know. Had you swearing you was African, that's that white man home. Had you proud to be a savage, that's that white man zone. And I ain't talking shit, this by definition. If being savage was our nature, y'all be non-existent. We done took your ass out when we was in them kitchens. Instead of showing you how to live and how to maintain business. White supremacy fake. Only way that shit real is if you do what they say.
Shout out to everybody in the chat. Your brother, Big Aboriginal Power, man. Y'all already know the fucking vibes. Make sure y'all tune up, turn up, share the live stream, man. We just getting it cracking, man. Let's get right into it, man. Y'all already. Top of the morning, Mr. Aboriginal Smith. What's going on, cuz? Make sure you hit me up today, too. I want to chat with you.
Yeah, rhyme so dope, my eyes low. When you move like God, the time slow. I came back for the blacks and John Doe's. Crack open them land patents, let go of them townhomes. What's a native to a native? Eat $5 dough if he not melanated. Pale faces got you waiting on a savior. Sending prayers up, he texting back on vacation. Yeah, God's children. Give all your praise to Jesus, but how God feeling? He say put no one before him in divine image. It's true with God of Christians. I got a vision, but niggas ain't gotta listen, so they don't. We came from the soil, wasn't fucking with no boats. Bible took our spirit, English plotted on our homes. Tribal families turned on us, don't act like y'all don't know. But fuck them and they grudges. We was something turned to nothing. And now we nothing's turned to somethings. Reincarnation of ancients, fresh up out the oven. This the message to the black man. 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 Shooters on my roof, lawyers in the coop. We can never die, bitch, we bulletproof. This the message to the black man. This the
Message to the black
Tell you
man.
wasn't slaves, you was prisoners of war. You stop wasting your time, these other bitches ain't important. You ain't meditating, you ain't mating with the sauce. Like what the fuck's a noodle if you ain't painted with the sauce? I find it hard to trust the pastor who rather side with the master who preaching we should submit while getting murdered and captured. About how we should wait on God is never our vernacular.
Shout out to everybody in the chat. Thumb up the video. Thumb up the motherfucking video. Let's get it.
See, my life has been in motion. I'm a little windy. I'm not giving up yet. If you with me, time to place up your bet. Ain't no turning back. Got niggas who ran. When we caught his ass, got caught in that jam. Yeah, you know who I am. Yeah, you know who I am. I can feel it coming. I can feel it coming. It's that feeling in your stomach, you can feel it coming. It's that feeling in your stomach, you can feel it coming. Yeah, you can feel it coming. Fake love, that snake you in your face, love. That snake you in your face, love. I told my brothers we gon' make it, that's how God wrote it. And the snake gon' show his face, cause that's how God wrote it. Too much fake love, that snake you in your face, love. Your face, love. That snake you in your face, love. I told my brothers we gon' make it, that's how God wrote it. And the snake gon' show his face, cause that's how God wrote it. Too much fake love, that snake you in your face, love. Your face, love. That snake you in your face, love. I told my brothers we gon' make it, that's how God wrote it. And the snake gon' show his face, cause that's how God wrote it.
Work is on its way, boy.
Got a 4-5 with a new drum, but a new 5 in the street.
I sold my heart right to the streets and I can't play with that. This shit that I did for the streets, I'm not gonna talk about that. I bought my youngins a new 40, told them play with that. So when them niggas spin the black, how you gon' play with that? Got a 4-5 with a new drum, but a new 5 in the streets. Laid down on the back blocks and I died in the streets. 4-5 with a new drum, but a new 5 in the streets. Laid down on the back blocks and I died in the streets. Body's on my conscience and I won't let it. Paranoia taking over, I won't let it. Out your right mind, you won't sober. Oh, the streets took a toll on you, but you a soldier. This shit I seen too many times before. Drugs taking over, they won't let them go. They make a wrong move, fuck it, we gon' let it blow. He just let me know that niggas' minds ain't right. Only killing for protection. My young niggas got obsessions. For that clout, they gon' press him. Consumed by the hate, another snake that's gon' bless him. He's supposed to be your brother, but he's screaming out that slime shit. Got a blood oath with my family, that's my tie. Y'all put your faith in me, and now we got it, we gon' all shine. And that's my word to the streets. 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 That's my word, yeah. I sold my heart right to the streets and I can't play with that. This shit that I did for the streets, I'm not gonna talk about that. I bought my youngins a new 40, told them play with that. So when them niggas spin the black, how you gon' play with that? Got a 4-5 with a new drum, bought a new 5 in the streets. Laid down on the back blocks and I died in the streets. 4-5 with a new drum, bought a new 5 in the streets. Laid down on the back blocks and I've died in the streets.
Father God, first I ask for forgiveness. I ask that you look past our times that we have fell short. Father God, for our ones who do not know your love, Father God, I know that is my purpose to be a lighthouse in your grace. Wherever you lead my steps, whatever obstacle or hardships to come, I pray that you give us strength in the face of the enemy. Father God, thank you for listening to my soul. Amen.
I sold my heart right to the streets and I can't play with that. This shit that I did for the streets, I'm not gonna talk about that. I bought my youngins a new 40, told them play with that.
Suave on the track.
Whatever it takes. The alleyway.
Coco, this your season right now.
They won't see me, they won't let me, yeah. I gotta sleep with one eye open, tripping, making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the strap, I know the eyes wanna murder, I got a feeling, deep my stomach, paranoia, yeah. I won't let them, yeah. They won't see me, yeah. I gotta sleep with one eye open, tripping, making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the strap, I know the eyes wanna murder, I got a feeling, deep my stomach, paranoia, yeah. I can't let them, yeah. They won't see me, yeah. I put attention, all in my blood, all in my veins. They started with perky, now that hair run up his veins. You started with serving, now them drugs drove you insane. Started with Dylan, I grew up with killers, they taught me the game. I got some niggas that die behind, and that shit won't never the same. I know some niggas that lie behind, and that bullet had his name. Ain't no reason to cry about, cause that shit won't never change. MTF the 4th and P, my niggas can't get out the game. I gotta sleep with one eye open, trippin' making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the stern, I know the odds wanna murder. I got a feeling deep my stomach, paranoid, yeah. I won't let them, yeah. They gon' see me, yeah. I gotta sleep with one eye open, trippin' making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the stern, I know the odds wanna murder. I got a feeling deep my stomach, paranoid, yeah. I can't let them, yeah. They gon' see me, yeah.
Lost, see, I glossed too, shit ain't been the same. Heard the ops talking to the.
Shout out to all the American Aborigines in the chat, man. What's going on with y'all out there, man? Great Grand Rising. Y'all know the energy's up. Y'all know this the 26th day in a row. This y'all 27th live stream. Hey, man, we on the road with it, man. The most consistent, the best information. And me and A1 got something put together for you guys. We're going to talk about that sometime this week. We're putting together a pay-per-view, me and A1. We've been working on it for some months, so it's heavily information driven. We'll give y'all more updates on that sometime this week. Hopefully, we can get all you guys to be a part of the actual pay-per-view. We want all y'all to turn out, man. It's a lot of information we're going to be distributing, a lot of primaries, a lot of sources stacked on top of the information that you guys already know, that y'all already accumulated. I want to say shout out to all the 65 people that's in here right now. Shout out to everybody that's not able to comment or type in the chat. I want to say peace and blessings to you guys. Make sure y'all be safe on your daily commute. And I also want to shout out to some of the people that took their time out to shout out in the chat. Shout out to Boss Player, Smoke Signal, Iro Lee, Chief Crazy Overstanding, Empress Goddess Nama. What's up, baby girl? Shout out to Haruda, Duke of Great Lakes. Shout out to Smoke Signal, Intown Williams, Enoch. Shout out to my big sister, TT Portier. What's going on, baby girl? Good to see you, Michelle Norman. What's up, sis? Who else we got in here? We got A-Dots, V-Dots in the building. Georgia Peach, what's going on, beautiful? Eastside 1415 in the building. Drake Cobb's Music. Pop Reed in the building, man. Everybody show some love to Wilmore Reed, man. That's the elder in the chat. He is the elder in the chat. Make sure y'all show some love to Pop Reed, man. If y'all got any questions, want some advice, make sure y'all holler at Pop Reed, man. You done been through it all, man. You got enough experience to give y'all some wise words of wisdom. Shout out to Patrick Gabriel in the building. Shout out to my big brother, Mr. Aboriginal Smith. Top of the morning. Shout out to Master Green, Darius Matthews. Shout out to True One. Shout out to Elizabeth Young. What's going on, sister? Good to see you in here. Chief Crazy Overstanding. Shout out to my brother, Chief Crazy Understanding. Shout out to Shamel Thompson. And shout out to Shantae King. What's going on? What's going on, Shantae? So hopefully I didn't forget anybody in the chat. Shout out to Boss Player. I'll shout you out. Shout out to Juice, Tayshawn, Khalil Flinch, and Aboriginal Think Tank. Man, y'all, this is your brother Aboriginal Power, or aka Professor Bap. Professor Bap in the building, man. Make sure y'all support the channel. Thumb up the video. It's very, very important for you guys to thumb up the video and to support the channel. Okay, so I need y'all to support the channel real quick. The live stream has officially started. PayPal and Cash App information is at the bottom of the screen, ticking across. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to my sister, Shay Pink 40, man. Shay Pink, what it do, sis? Grand Rising. All right, man, I'm not even going to hold y'all any longer, man. We're going to get right into the info that we got lined up, man. I'm going to pick up where we left off yesterday. Is that cool? Is that cool if I pick up where we left off yesterday? All right, let's get right back into where we picked off at yesterday.
Held X-rays, CAT scans, and genetic samples for testing. Here they had this Dr. Lockman perform many of the...
Oh, shit, we got to go back to this little thing. Now, I'm done talking about this little thing because I done did some more research. All fairies are gay. Peter Pan, all them niggas gay. Any fairy you ever seen in history is a homosexual. Okay? So I'm trying to keep that in mind.
Which has now sadly gone downhill. But here they had a guest by the name of Stephen Greer, and he had found this creature, or come into possession of it. And exactly what I would want to do if I got my hands on such a
Now listen, they said they got their hands on this little fairy.
specimen. They brought it to Stanford University and took detailed x-rays, CAT scans, and genetic samples for testing. Here they had this Dr. Lockman perform many of the tests, who's the author of a book and a leading expert on skeletal abnormalities, and he was in charge of examining the x-rays, CAT scans, and photographs. They obtained DNA from the two right anterior ribs on the humanoid. These clearly contained bone marrow material, and the strictest protocols were observed. The small humanoid is 13 centimeters, or about 6 inches, and completely intact. There's absolutely no doubt that the specimen is an actual organism, and it's not a...
This is an actual organism that is not of human nature. It's not a hominoid of no sort, but it looks just like a little human, man. Little freaky fairy.
a hoax of any kind. This fact has been confirmed by Dr. Nolan and Dr. Lockman at Stanford. So here you go. An absolute confirmation by a mainstream...
Look, this one photo of the little furry alien, but look at him when he start posing.
source that this non-humanoid species...
Now look at this motherfucking head on this thing. Long than a motherfucker though. And they got the nerve to say, well, you know, they found long heads in Peruvia. Nigga, not that goddamn small. That bitch smaller than a New York rat. That bitch might get ate by a New York rat. You ever seen a rat in New York? Them bitches like 3 feet. You know what I'm saying? The little 6 centimeter little thing right here would get ate the fuck up by a New York rat. Facts. Wouldn't even compete.
Is actually legit. The DNA was different. The skeletal species is actually legit. The DNA was different. The skeletal features, and pretty much everything that could prove that this thing is real has taken place. And here it is again. Really fascinating. Again, the large head.
Fuck the large head. We know it got a large head. Like, I want to identify, first of all, why it say AP in this motherfucker? First of all, don't try to put my initials next to some shit like this. For real. Like, we ain't even about to do that next to the Galian. You feel what I'm saying? This ain't no AP Galian, man. We don't know what the fuck this is. This nigga squat with his hands. And look, he got his arms on his hips. Both arms on his hips, squatting, doing the Megan pose. Now, that's some bullshit. That's some bullshit. We're not just about to let these aliens just get away with that. We're not about to just let them slip by us like that.
And showing comparisons to small infants, just to eliminate that. And honestly, I think this creature doesn't even look as legit as this one. This creature...
Damn, look at this little thing. Damn, I'm trying to look at this bit sideways. That bit got a long-ass alien head. And cheekbones, kind of resemble a little Ethiopian or Somali. He got a little neck and a big ass head. I don't know what the fuck this is.
Doesn't even look as legit as this one, and really seeming like these two could be cousins. And I really spent a lot of time examining both of these specimens.
Somebody said that's a deformed premature baby. Nigga, if you don't go on boy, if I ever see a motherfucking baby with wings, I don't even know what I'm gonna do. God bless me. God bless me if I ever see a little baby with the little thing like this. Ain't no baby, man. Who said it's a baby? Aboriginal think tank. No, this ain't no baby, man. This something you get some little corn or some little something, and you say, come here, little thing. Come here, little thing. No, that ain't no motherfucking baby, man. Hell no. That's a little thing. This thing right here talking about, come here, little thing. That's a little fairy, man. We don't know what the fuck that is. Talking about that's a premature baby. I be dipped in shit and rolled in breadcrumbs. My baby come out looking like a horsefly with wings and shit. Hell no, don't put that on us, Aboriginal think tank. That's a little thing.
I think one, having been thoroughly investigated by medical experts, lends credibility to the other. And I really spent this creature doesn't
Talking about that's a premature baby. That bitch got like 6 ribs on each side. Like this.
even look as legit as this one, and really seeming like these two could be cousins. And I really spent a lot of time examining both of these specimens. And I think one, having been thoroughly investigated by medical experts, lends credibility to the other, which has been quickly discarded without any.
Man, if y'all want me to continue, man, I'm gonna need y'all to thumb up this video real quick. I need y'all to thumb up the video, support the channel, man. Let's get 100 likes in the building real quick, and let's try to get 200 people in here before the hour marker. You know what I mean? That means I need everybody in the live stream that's watching this to share this on your social media. You know what I mean? We got like 40 minutes to try to bring another 100 people in here. And let's get at least 1 or 2 people to support the channel today, man. Support the channel. Thumb up the video. Somebody say, Yakub head ass. Yeah, that motherfucker got a long ass scalpy. Get that motherfucking scalp. Make sure y'all support the channel, man. We'll start right back as soon as we get 100 likes. As soon as we get 100 likes and get somebody to support the channel. Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. Hey, man. Hey, y'all acting like I ain't on my 27th day in a row with heat. Y'all acting like this ain't the 27th day, man. Come on, man. And I got plenty more heat.
Of these specimens. And I think one, having been thoroughly investigated by medical experts, lends credibility to the other, which has been quickly discarded.
Y'all motherfuckers don't hit the like button, y'all gonna get bit by this little thing tonight. I'm putting it in the atmosphere. Anybody that don't hit that like button, y'all asses will be attacked by this little thing. I'm gonna make sure that shit happens. I hope it happens.
Without any such examinations. Well, that's it. I thank you for joining me.
All right, we're gonna end this live stream right here. We ain't going nowhere. We ain't going no motherfucking where. We ain't going no motherfucking where. We are coming right back at you with some more shit. We coming right back at you with some more shit. So make sure y'all stay tuned. Get ready for the live stream. Thumb up the video. Support the channel, man. Y'all know we about to get ready to start looking into these beautiful structures. So we need y'all to hit that like button. Let go.
For some construction. Quite a hand.
See,
Create a website.
I knew they was gonna do that bullshit. Stupid ass commercials. They always want to show commercials on the nigga channel that ain't even monetized, so they can just get all the cheese off your channel. You see how that work?
We would give them some construction. Quite a handful, and I thought we would give them a nice thorough examination. And if you remember in a past video,
Damn, look at this. Like, first of all, let's look at this old town, right? We about to get into it now. Let's look at this historical old town in 1800. Look at all these beautiful structures that you see. You know who built those structures? I'm going to show you. These people built those structures. Do you know who these people are? Potentially somebody ancestors in the United States that could be watching Aboriginal Powers live stream. This could be one of your ancestors. Seriously. There's some Negroes outside of their own mom and pop stores, probably the brothers out there, they cousins, you know what I'm saying? Got grandma working in the back. Huh? Look at these structures and look at the niggas who sent her occupying these mugs. Let's talk about it. Hey man, this is the Wake and Bake show too, man. So let me know where y'all at in the United States and what y'all smoking on this Grand Rising. Drop in the chat, type in what city, what state y'all in, and what y'all smoking on, man. We still ain't had one person support the channel yet. So we're gonna keep it going for about another 30 minutes. But I'm telling y'all, if we don't get them likes up to 100 and get some people to support, I got something for y'all asses.
probably a couple of years ago now, full, and I thought we would give them a nice thorough examination. And if you remember in a past video I made, probably a couple of years ago now, I talked about how if we were to possibly inherit an entire civilization's remains, most obviously their buildings, infrastructure, such as...
You said, was he cutting hair? Yeah, my man right here cutting hair. Outside the post office. In store. This bitch is all three. It's a barbershop, post office, and a store. Owned by one family, goddamn. Yeah, you getting them a little boosie fade. Oh, what you didn't know we had barbershops going back 3,000-4,000 years ago? Oh, you didn't know we had barbershops going back to the OMAC days with buildings they can go and get a fresh cut in? Oh, there ain't nothing new under the sun.
A couple of years ago now, I talked about how if we were to possibly inherit an entire civilization's remains, most obviously their buildings, infrastructure, such as
Look at these people. This don't look like no raggedy people. They washing clothes. They got an iron. They got their shit loaded up in the house. When the motherfucker was supposed to be living in tents and shit. This look like a concrete or some wooden structure of some sort.
Canals, roads, monuments. But in that particular video, I discussed the possibility of...
No, we ain't just gonna slip by a little ching chong now. Why ching chong them holding up a little American flag? Like that little thin ass American flag. Get your hell on. Little Asian. That's how y'all try to little Native American. Look, this is a Native American.
Monuments. But in that particular video, I discussed the possibility of us inheriting the camera. Of course, all of this being old tech.
Hold on, look at this. Look at these buildings. Concrete structures with glass buildings in the early 1800s. And look at these paved roads, brick roads. Knowing these honkies didn't do it. Look at them. They all, look, my black man I didn't give a fuck. He walking straight. Dude right here looking, they looking.
Inheriting
what they looking at.
The camera. Of course, all of this being old tech, nothing new under the sun. And if we inherited the camera, then naturally we would inherit some old photographs from the old...
Oh shit, let's look in the background of this. Look at this over here. Huge concrete structure. Look right here. This is a whole concrete goddamn little area, right? little building or something. You know what I'm saying? Some type of little something. You know what I mean? Look at all these structures, man. Early 1800s.
Then naturally we would inherit some old photographs from the old world taken by the old civilization. And for me, this is
Hey, I wasn't gonna go live, but look at this goddamn structure. Whew. Look at all these hunkies there. This thing loaded up with motherfuckers, all at the top of the building, all on the side. What is this? The Million Man Hockey beating, motherfucker? The fuck is this?
World taken by the old civilization. And for me, this is absolutely on the table. Why wouldn't we? I believe the clothing and art, tech.
Now look, this is in the early 1800s. This is at the beginning of the industrial age. This is at the beginning and the construction of these cities and states that we see. In the beginning, they already got these type of structures, large concrete structures. And look, they using wooden ladders to do shit. Come on, man. They didn't have nothing to do with these structures. Unbelievable. This is the whole city block. I don't even know what the fuck this is, but this shit is. Just look at the structures, man. Look at the design. Is that not enough to raise eyebrows?
Everything was inherited. And there would be photographs, and many of those photographs would be photos.
Look, Simon Ackerman's clothing. Look at this building. That big ass bottle made on it. Look at this next to this other huge concrete structure, another huge concrete structure.
Of the construction.
It's early 1900s.
Of their buildings. And with such a collection of
photos from the early 1900s. Obviously, they got cars and shit.
Photos, one could easily rewrite a narrative over and over again. And I'm not sure that is what we're going to see in these photos. I think we also see evidence of photoshopping. Now, in the old days, they didn't call it photoshopping, they covered that.
Now, this ain't no motherfucking Photoshop. Just look at the what I'm saying is, I just think in my mind, if you got an advanced technology, right, that was building up, they've been on their shit and they ain't had a reset in some time. You got to think that their advancements of technologically advanced structures should be superior. And then when you go into the industrial age of after the reset or the beginning, the rebuild after the reset, you shouldn't be able to see structures like this at the beginning after a reset. This is shit that you would see right before a reset, these type of structures. You wouldn't see this shit before, after a reset. This is somebody who obviously is at a peak of their technologically advanced understanding, especially when it comes to masonry. This is ancient geometry. This speaks of the hidden language that they don't want you to know about. This is a Mason study.
What we're going to see in these photos, I think we also see evidence of photoshopping.
Look at this.
Now, in the old days, they didn't call it photoshopping, they called it dodging and burning, something you would do in a dark room while processing a photograph. And again, not sure if that will be the case with these photos, but I thought we'd just have a look with fresh eyes. Welcome. A look with fresh eyes.
Oh, that's the nigga who reading this for us. That nigga, he said, shout out to my nigga John Levi, boy. Your ass dry than a motherfucker, boy. That's why Big Al be coming here spicing up the videos a little bit. Just get a little seasoning in this motherfucker. Just give it a little flavor, my man. Because you be dry eyes. And these structures are good. I actually hear some wind outside of my window. Hopefully it's not too much for you guys. That's why that nigga talk. Hell no, cuz. Spice it up a little bit.
Yes, welcome. So here we see a photograph of the Singer Building. So here a closer look at the Singer Building. A true beauty we've discussed in the past. And this could be put into...
Y'all can go look this up, the Singer Building.
And the town 97 to 1898 1. From 1897 to 1898. And the tower, we're told, took another 2 years. 1906 to 1908. The camera is well on its way by this time. There should be no problem with photographic evidence. And the Singer Building was demolished in 1968. Liberty under construction. And really looking old in this photograph.
If you, this building look like it's old, look like it done went through a couple of disasters. You know what I mean? It done seen a few things. It done had some real niggas stay off in that thing. Some niggas that ain't even on record. History of technology, a science, a civilization that stayed there that you don't even know existed. And it's crazy that we have the actual structures of this advanced civilization, but we don't have any written history. We don't have any knowledge. This is during the time that they saying people was primitive and savage and hunter and gatherers and fucking living in teepees, slapping rocks and shit. But yet you got these magnificent structures.
If you took away these features, it would appear as if we're looking at an old and seasoned building. I believe that there's curtains hanging in...
Make sure y'all support the channel, man. Cash App and PayPal information is at the bottom of the screen. We ain't had nobody support the channel. We ain't even got 100 like shit. I'm telling y'all. Support the channel, man. Y'all got to, man. The real support the real, man. You know what I mean? Support the real.
Sad. And why, if you had built up 5 or 6 stories, is there still this scaffolding down here? This should have been complete long ago. This building looks like everything on both sides of it, which also looks old and massive. Mind you, the beginning of the 1900s, everything is completely built out, and we don't see very many people.
Yeah, in the beginning of in the 1900s, everything is completely already laid out. The bridges, the dams, the roads, the structures, they're already laid out. There's no construction. They already look worn. They already look like they've been through a lot in the early 1900s. It's because these motherfuckers been around.
We do see some. This looks like a couple, man and woman, on the go. Here, a man crossing the street, just giving us an idea of how quick the exposure of this particular photograph was. Pretty good, maybe half a second. And again, everything looking old. And then we have this. Again, very strange. Why would you even continue building this tower when this part is supposedly not finished? And really, I think it is finished. This seems to have a different kind of hue, as if it's a smoky day, but I don't think we're dealing with smoke, because everything else is pretty much in focus, good visibility in the background here, yet this looks smoky compared to the sharp and fine detail that...
Because this bitch went through a fire. This bitch went through some type of disaster. Something happened here to this building while it broke off and it looks burnt at the top. Something went on. We easily can see that. Do we have an echo? Do we got an echo? Do we got an echo, y'all? Let me know what's up. If we got an echo, let me know. Mic check, mic check, mic check, mic check, mic check. Let's get a mic check real quick. Drop a fire emoji in the chat if the sound is clear and that y'all can see the screen clear. No echo, no echo. All right, cool. Just want to make sure.
That we get in what appears to be a half a second exposure. So everything seeming legit on the bottom, but the top looking very suspicious. This looking like an older photograph up here. Again, that smoky feel, as if it's a very old photo. And I don't think that's the case. I think it's been added in. Just not making any sense to not complete this part, to start working on this facade, and to continue building up. You would complete one floor. And what is supporting any of this? Really looking fishy. The narrative tells us they began construction of the tower after the first portion was complete. But that's not even what we see here. And now I want to look at this little platform up here. Again, why would you even continue upward until you finish this part of the building? And let's just see what they're doing in this part of the building. So we have this really sketchy platform here. You couldn't pay me to walk on this platform. What are we to imagine that they just stuck this wood into the concrete? Just bored some holes into the concrete? And even if they did, I still wouldn't walk out on this platform, even if that was the case. But I don't think that is the case. This is too stupid of a walkway, which leads...
Right, this is a stupid ass platform to build a magnificent, solid structure. That lets me know that the people who's trying to renovate and reconstruct it obviously don't have the technology who built the original structure. That's just obvious. This is obviously evidence of two different sciences, two different civilizations, one being more advanced than the other. This is just obvious. This is just obvious.
It's me to believe that this has been photoshopped in here. Again, it's fastened to the concrete, the wood, and it gets better. At least, if we were to believe that they fastened these into the concrete facade, we might think that was normal. But these sections are running right through the window. Right through the window. Here, this one, through the window. And if we think it's weird to look at cities with no people, what of construction sites with no people? It's not like you're just shuffling around on a construction site.
That is very, 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 very interesting. Can y'all hear me? This nigga just said That's crazy. That's weird. For it to be a construction site, you don't see any construction. Is that weird? I just want to get y'all opinion in the chat. We 40 minutes in, and let's see. We 40 minutes in. We got 140 people. Let's get everybody to share the live stream and support the channel, man. Let's try to get 200 people in here within the next 20 minutes. Let's see how many likes we got. Come on, man. Let's get the likes up. We got 140 people in here. Let's get 130 likes. Let's get 130 likes, and let's get at least 2 people to support the channel. I'll start the live stream right back. We'll hit that play button. We'll continue. We got a lot of information to get through, so y'all hurry up and get to the 130 likes. Hurry up and hit that like button if y'all ain't came in. Make sure y'all support the channel so we can get it cracking. Somebody said maybe it was taken on Sunday. That's a good synopsis to put in. I just think it's weird for them to not have no footage, no photos. All we need is 17 more likes and 2 people to support the channel. That's all we waiting on. While y'all do that, I'm gonna give y'all 60 seconds to hit the like button. Thumb up the video, and to support the channel, man. Let's get at least 2 people to support the channel. We'll be back in 60 seconds.
Niggas died 1865. Yeah. Hey man, all I'm saying is, nigga, you always got something to say. It's like you don't shut up.
On the track.
A lot of niggas died 1865. Single Michael fled high, I ain't gon' let it ride. Everybody hot and black was never on your side. They do maps to tell your apps where you sleep at night. They put that white man on. Got you begging them for answers like that white man know. Had you swearing you was African, that's that white man home. Had you proud to be a savage, that's that white man's zone. And I ain't talking shit, this by definition. If being savage was our nature, y'all be non-existent. We done took your ass out when we was in them kitchens. Instead of showing you how to live and how to maintain business. White supremacy fake. Only way that shit real is if you do what they say. We the God to the gate, so when they say they fear God, now you know what they made.
All right, man. Let's see how many likes we got up in this thing. Did we get the 130 likes already? Damn, we lacking how many? 12 likes? We lacking 12 likes, y'all. We ain't had nobody support the channel. All right, then. We ain't have nobody support the channel. Well, listen, I'm going to go ahead and hit started because I know somebody going to support the channel here in just a second. We ain't even tripping.
Right, oftentimes someone will sit in one place for up to an hour. And what a mess this is, and not a single person to be seen. And if we do see a person never working, just posing, just show me one hammer in mid-swing, one block being hoisted up 15 stories. We don't see any of that. Here again, we see some kind of a pulley system, and it looks so smoky. Why isn't it sharp and clear like all the rest of this detail? And again, this part of the building is under construction. Really? You're not going to finish this bottom corner of the building before you start building this tower, which is sitting on this?
Somebody said, "Where's Monday?" That's a good ass movie if that's what you're talking about. Shout out to Kevin Coleman. If you ever seen that movie, Where's Monday? It's a pretty good ass movie, man.
Structure? Does this make
Trippy as fuck though.
any sense? Just a few
It's like these little inker babies, like 7 of them.
anomalies here. And how about here? A construction photo, and it looks like they were in a hurry to put the sign up. Perhaps the sign maker was not going to be available in 6 months. Very strange, and I would be very upset if I had paid for this sign because it looks old already. And I'd also be very upset with my windows. Many of them appear to be busted up and just not having that nice new window feel. And again, somebody's behind schedule. This section should have been completed long ago, long before the sign was put up. And do we have any people here? Anyone? Perhaps one man can be seen down here, and much neglect down here, seeming like they just put off this whole section. And another thing I noticed was how hasty they were to put up this antenna. Now, this antenna is probably 4 stories in comparison to these floors here. 4 stories, and this would have been a pretty monumental occasion. Much picture snapping should have taken place on this day. The erecting of the 4-story antenna before the building is even complete. And if we look, this antenna is there in every picture that we see, this story antenna.
Yeah, antennas, man. That lets you know that they had electricity. They had some shit going on. Once you see them antennas, you know some shit going on, you guys. Shout out to Cassandra. Shout out to Georgia Peach, and shout out to Robert for the Cash App donation. Robert said, videos show how deep the rabbit hole really goes. Robert said this video show how deep the rabbit hole really goes. It really does, man. It really locks in and capture in on how they're lying to us right here to our face. And we really right here looking at the lie. You know what I'm saying? We're calling it out right here on the spot. Shout out to you guys for being able to call these lies out right here on the spot. Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. Let's continue this fire-ass live stream. Thumb up the video, support the channel, man. But yeah, this antenna, though, that's crazy. Nigga ain't even peeped the antenna.
Before,
like, a nigga ain't even peep how the antenna is up here and, like, what is it used for?
Hasty they were to put up this antenna. Now, this antenna is probably 4 stories in comparison to these floors here. 4 stories, and this would have been a pretty monumental occasion. Much picture snapping should have taken place on this day. The erecting of the 4-story antenna before the building is even complete. And if we look, this antenna is there in every picture that we see this tower. Here it is again in 1907. And again, the sign is up, but not the one over here. And I think that they're just playing games here. In some cases, we may be seeing phases of construction in the form of facading, such as seen here. This looks like the original brick, clearly, old brick. And at best, they may be putting this facading up here over the face of the brick. But even that I'm not sure about. Again, the phases of construction just don't make any sense. Working on the bottom, middle, and top, and putting 4-story
Damn, that tower is
tech up. This cherry on top would probably be the most interesting picture to see at this point, along with the foundation. And what do I mean by the foundation? But before you even begin to build a building, you have to move tons of dirt out of here. Sometimes this initial stage can take a quarter of the entire construction duration. And when we consider that there are basements in these...
It is very true. To dig out of the foundation often removes the topsoil and the dirt. Well, where's the dirt at? And who would have took the dirt away if it's not there? Like horses and buggies? Who's bringing in this concrete and this material to build this structure? Horse and buggies? That don't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense at all. Just look at the bottom of this shit right here. Just look like some shit that was already prior. Look how, just like, these are the steps right here that lead into the building. This is the bottom foundation. And look at the brick masonry is so intact. And I've seen this brick masonry down in South America.
Buildings that go down many stories. I'm simply not impressed with these suspicious photographs. And when considering the construction of a building in a city, it's also...
This ain't the construction of a building. This is the deconstruction of a building. Shout out to my brother who just said that in the chat.
fair to have a look at everything else around it. and everything else looks so old. And again, this construction that we see being very, very suspicious. And you can see why.
You're absolutely right. I've seen them in Inca block work. I've seen them. I've seen that same style in Inca block working. No bullshit, Robert. You know what I'm saying? Hey, that's why you got Professor Bap here. I am the Aboriginal archaeologist, anthropologist, and geologist forensics here on site here for the Aboriginal community, self-owned and worked by my own observation and my own quarries. So yes, I am the professor. Let's get it in, man.
They would have to vanilla the skies out. If you're going to mess with one part of a building, then you have to mess with the sky around it, which means you have to mess with the whole sky and the whole city and just white it out. And there's no excuse. The resolution in these photographs is excellent. There's no reason we shouldn't get a normal looking sky versus something that resembles a stormy day or smoky. And here's an example of a picture. The Metropolitan Life Insurance Company building under construction, 1908. And what do we have here? Exactly what I was just talking about. Here they have performed their own little Photoshop for whatever reason. They've decided to not continue their sky into this portion of the photograph. Why have they done this? I'm not sure. Perhaps.
Damn, this bitch Photoshop like a motherfucker, gang. What the fuck? Caught they ass. Caught they bitch ass photoshopping old photos. You sick bastards. Caught y'all ass. We caught them. Look. The damn photo goes outside the photo. Like, what the fuck? That's a photograph sky. Cause look at it right here.
Tipping us off, or perhaps somebody was sloppy. Very fascinating tech on the top here, really intricate. And what is this, ether? This is pretty fascinating. Let me know what you think. But I think this ether.
Damn, there could be some type of photo, and they captured the electrical currents, like a thick electrical currents, like plasma, if you will. If you ever seen them lights, some neon lights at the store that say open, that's plasma electricity going through there. You know what I'm saying? It's very thick electricity. What if this is what we're capturing right here on this photo? Damn, that's dope too.
This is pretty fascinating. Let me know what you think. But I think proving my point on what kind of tricks they have up their sleeve. Here, this construction part looks so primitive compared to this. This is already complete and old. Again, missing windows, and we're to believe this is a construction photo in a well-established looking city, weathered, seasoned, full-grown trees. I don't think so. And it looks like that's it for the Singer building. That is all we get for construction photos. Perster, third generation finished doctored on those construction pictures. I have worked on some notable high dollar projects in Southern California and elsewhere and would be happy to.
Now look at this. This is the Penn Station lobby. I think they said the Penn Station lobby was put together when?
And Finnish carpenter, and they're not buying it. How did the builders attach the domed, coffered interior ceilings to the steel ribbing? I'm calling doctored on those construction pictures. I have worked on some notable high-dollar projects and
just look at the architecture. This don't look like this was meant for whatever they using it for. Look how large these columns is. Look how large these archways is. Look at the curved roof. You see what I'm saying? The pillars. You feel me? The ornamentation at the top of the pillars. This is so much design and craftsmanship that this don't even look like what the people of that day was building like. They didn't add that type of craftsmanship. They didn't do these marvelous designs from the ornamentation. You see what I'm saying? Shout out to Suda Natural for the cash out donation. He said, keep dropping this heat and mind-blowing information. I appreciate that. Shout out to my man, Suda Natural. I'm going to keep trying, man. I hope y'all enjoying it. If y'all enjoying it, thumb up the video. You feel me? If you really support the channel and you be like, damn, this some mind-blowing shit, hey, support the channel like my man Suda Natural just did and let Big Aboriginal Power know that y'all enjoyed the live streams and the information. This is this is my 27th day in a row with heat. I done gave y'all 28 builds, fire builds in 27 days. Shout out to y'all, man. I do this shit for y'all, man. Let's get back to the information. Y'all support the channel. Cash App and PayPal information is at the bottom of the screen, ticking across. Let's go.
In Southern California and elsewhere, and would be happy to elaborate as an expert witness. There are many elements missing from the construction photos of Penn Station. And let's have a look at these pictures of Penn Station. A very interesting photo right off the get-go. Very strange that you would have dirt floors.
Look, how you got dirt floors inside of Penn Station? First of all, Penn Station just looked like this. That's what it looked like at the end of it. And you telling me it looked like this? No, that lets you know that you was covering up, that y'all was digging it up from out of a mud flood. Yeah, they dug Penn Station up because this was an old cathedral place. The old Penn Station was a cathedral for some sort, ancient structure of some sort, power plant maybe, and that they dug up, it was due to a mud flood. That's what it looked like in the early stages.
And all this still in place, and something I have never seen a photograph of, if you have, please share it with me, is a cement truck of the old world, or somebody mixing cement or hauling it in a cart. I don't know. I did see some guys in a photo I once...
Ain't nobody hauling no motherfucking concrete in no horse and cart buggy. Get that shit the fuck out of here. Ain't nobody about to listen to that bullshit. Some nigga said they hauling concrete in a horse and buggy. Nigga, that don't even make sense. That don't even make sense. That's like a bunch of Africans about 10,000 years ago moving a Ford pickup truck full of oranges. And, and you know what I'm saying? Oranges and mangoes. A bunch of Africans 10,000 years ago had a Ford pickup moving around a bunch of oranges and mangoes. That shit don't make no sense.
Shared mixing cement in a wheelbarrow. But something like this, can you imagine how many trucks?
Man, and they don't got enough trucks to put this kind of concrete down or that kind of concrete that you see right here. Look at these Negroes. They just digging out mud. Look, they got buckets. Come on, man. Ain't no way in hell. This is very insulting when they act like they did this shit.
Of concrete it would require, and here you go. So what are we seeing here? Even if such a photo was found and taken in times of old, this still doesn't make any sense. And here we go. Exactly what I was asking for, to some extent. Here are the supposed builders of this glory. Why are you building a building like this? Are you kidding me? Look at this thing. This looks like some medieval antique. And this...
Right, some medieval antique to build a Roman wooden shack, nigga. This don't look like no shit you'll use to build a great concrete structure like this. Like what we see, it wouldn't build this. It wouldn't build all this. The stadiums and the concrete, it wouldn't do that. Some bullshit.
Why are you building a building like this? Are you kidding me? Look at this thing. This looks like some medieval antique. And this one over here looks a little more modern. Not too dissimilar from my own. But again, we seem to have jumped over a big step here. All of this steel that we are looking at in the last picture needs to be set in concrete. Every single beam here. And here again, this is a construction photo. And look at this. To be honest, everything is done. There's no construction taking place here. Look at their primitive wooden water barrels. And then this brick floor.
Right. This ain't no construction video. The shit is already built. Like, seriously. The shit is already built. Show me the pictures where it's hundreds of people moving stone. They don't got no shit like that.
Unbelievable.
They ain't got no pictures of hundreds of wheelbarrows and wagons pulling concrete in to build this shit up, or brick. Man, they don't got them photos. They don't exist because they didn't build them.
Here is a man working on this floor, it seems, and something just looking strange about this. This looks like a half floor, as if half of the level had been mud flooded and was filled with dirt, like we saw in that last picture.
Yes, it was definitely mud flooded. Drop them fire emojis in the chat if y'all can hear me loud and clear, man. We're trying to get the energies up. We only got 136 in the chat. And we already done hit the hour marker. Oh, shit. See, I was going to end it at the hour marker. No bullshit. I was going to end it at the hour marker. But I fought with the Aborigines so hard, I'm going to continue this whole live stream out. Whether y'all hit the like button or support the channel at all. Just because I fuck with y'all. So I want y'all to support the channel, hit the like button if you feel free. You feel me? Let's go.
And they could be creating a new floor in this old building, because this just seems pretty strange to me, like a half floor, like in the movie Being John Malkovich. And really, all these construction photos just looking complete, if you ask me. Similar to the last ones we saw, just adding some props to the top. And
yeah, this ain't construction. They put fake construction sites up while the building already fully intact, talking about they constructed it. Man, get your stupid ass out of here. Y'all thought we weren't gonna catch that shit in 2022? Our ancestors might didn't catch that shit. My granny and them probably didn't catch that shit, but nigga, I caught that shit, nigga, in 2022. Nigga, the gig is up. You can't lie to me, nigga. You can't lie to me, nigga. We done caught you.
if you don't see the photoshopping in this particular image, then I'm afraid there's no hope for you. Nothing could be more clear unless we're to believe that these cranes were emitting some sort of smoke or dark aura. Unbelievable. Is anybody impressed with these construction photos? This old looking building, and this would be interesting to touch this up, adjusting the contrast, and we'd really see this photoshopping pop. Pretty obvious to me. And here we go again. We see what I'm talking about now. The half floor that we were looking at from the inside, and this is the out.
This is a half floor. That's crazy.
About now, the half floor that we were looking at from the inside, and this is the outside. So here was that half rectangular window, and here's this half floor. And again, we're to believe that they're constructing this floor with these half windows.
Nigga, they just dug it up and they didn't want to dig the rest of this shit out from under there. It's probably like 5 more floors up under this little layer right here. This is obviously evidence of a mud flooding to me. Obvious evidence of a mud flooding. What you think, Empress Goddess Namas? What you think? You think this is a mud flood evidence? What you think, Empress? Let a nigga know, man.
It just looks buried, even to a non-mud flood researcher. And has this picture been worked? And again, repeated examples of building from the top down. Does this make any sense to anybody? And again, are we really building? Is anyone doing anything here? And I'm just not seeing any construction here. Now, this could be the making of facade, and I do believe that there was a lot of refacading of brick, and this photograph may be legit. However, the stuff that they were standing next to was not as impressive as much of the work that we see on the buildings themselves. And here again, what looks like an old weathered building. You can see the staining and the weathering on this what should be white stone or concrete facing. And this just does not look like the same photo to me. Again, the suspicious top And this is a good time to bring up another point, is while they demolish these buildings, they often take them apart and reuse the parts, pieces. And this building was torn down. And I don't believe in the narrative, ultimately. And I think that while they take some of these buildings apart, they may snap some photos as evidence for their construction. Just a thought. Today I'm really laying it all out there. And here's a great, great example. How old is this building? Does this look new to any?
Hell no, that building don't look new at all. They look like some ancient shit, man. Like, we don't even build shit like that. They look like some shit you'll see in Atlantis. This look like some shit that you'll see in ancient Lemuria, nigga, Mu or somewhere, nigga. It's like some shit you'll find in the ancient Amaru Empire or some shit.
Anybody. And I think we can always get a good example of the new and the old. Hear this lamppost, old. Hear this stupid little wheeling cart, new. How about this stupid little wooden shed here? Like a little old world single wide, new. And how about this building, old? Do you see my point? And then something like this, thrown on top of a white cartoon sky. Who is believing this to be a construction photo? In my opinion, only a fool. And finally, I think we'll just conclude with some pictures of construction. Very famous ones that many have seen before. And again, I ask the question, could these have been photoshopped? These people seem a little too comfortable, and these pictures a little too fishy. And personally, as a child, when I first saw these pictures, it really made me sick, maybe imagining that people could be so reckless, and a photo or movie really allows us
Hey,
to...
Rob McCoy, I believe the New Madrid earthquake and the aftershocks and the after effects of the earthquake transpired into what we call the mud flood. I do believe that, sir.
Put ourselves in these people's position, sometimes feeling what they might feel. But in these photos, just seeming stupid. Either there's some dared fake of school children being just as reckless. No.
Yeah, that's fake. All these photos fake. I'm not.
We're seeing these Birmingham kids recreate a famous photo. And of course, an absolute Photoshop job, both then and now. So I thank you for joining me, and do have a...
Man, listen, we ain't done. We're going to get into the second half for the next video. This is about to be a good one. We're going to end this thing off strong. Make sure y'all hit that like button, thumb up the video, support the channel. It's going to be one of the ones. We're going to get into this next one right quick. Hopefully y'all enjoy this one. We got 140 people in here. Hopefully y'all getting the energies up. If I can get everybody to hit the like button real quick and thumb up the video and support the channel. Let's get a couple people to support the channel. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Peace and blessings to all the American Aborigines, American Indians that's tuning in. Make sure y'all drop a fire emoji in the chat if y'all can hear and see the screen clear. All right, let's get right into it right now, man. Shout out to everybody in the chat.
Clearly a...
Ah, shit. I don't... These goddamn commercials. I would play it, but y'all ain't even giving me my monetization.
Building, but where? This building is in Japan, and this is Disney World in Japan. The Tower of Terror at Disney Sea. So here we go. In Tokyo, Japan, the Tower of Terror. Rather seeming like the Tower of Tartaria, but not the point of phase. In the last video, we had a look at the beautiful hotel in Quebec.
Now, look, let's go back to this photo. Look at these structures and look at this bridge with all the mechanics that go into this bridge. This is in Niagara Falls, Ontario, suspension bridge in the 1800s, man. This is the photo of the bridge in the 1800s. That means this shit had to be built in the 1700s, according to the mathematics and how long it would have took to build that particular bridge. That lets you know that this is evidence of a prior civilization. They had a bridge before the 1800s. This is pre-1900s right here.
Welcome. Today I wanted to talk about the railways. In the last video we had a look at the beautiful hotel in Quebec, Canada, and truly adding some new depth to the idea.
Damn, that's a marvelous structure that's in Canada, y'all. Magnificent. Can we get a hashtag unbelievable with this one? Look at all them domes that you see on there. Obviously would have been copper or bronze. So in its earliest stage, it would have been shining and reflecting the light like gold or silver would have. Marvelous.
Idea of constructing these rail systems all across North America in this early time period of the 1800s. And I've had comments, and people said their grandfathers had worked on the rails. People have worked on the rails. But laying of tracks being the easiest part of creating a railway system, oftentimes traversing great ravines and canyons and having to build bridges, at other times boring through mountains and making tunnels, and most certainly throughout this whole process moving huge amounts of earth in order to allow the laying of level tracks. And again, tracks.
Now look at this. If you can look right here where my arrow is, you know what I mean, moving at. If you notice, this is a motherfucking railroad. And obviously it looked like they done dug it up. This look like a dug up railroad. Look at these domes and these buildings around here. This look like an old ancient railroad along with these old ancient structures. Damn, y'all see that?
Aside, this alone, and the idea that this much.
Boom, look at these old ancient structures. Boom. Look at this railroad track up here. But look at this one right here, though. Look at these right here, though. But we ain't talking about these. But look at these. These was the ones obviously dug up. Obviously, ones that they dug and found. These are ancient ones. Look at these. Look at these going right into the old building. Look at these old, man, come on, man.
Dirt could be moved with horse, oxen, and wagon is completely absurd. Very similar to dredging out many of these canals. Laying of the rails is very similar. And here we're told the history of railroads begins in the 1720s. A railroad was reportedly used in the construction of the French fortress in Nova Scotia. Railroads played a large role in the development of the United States. Railroads played a large role in the development of the United States around 1810 to 1850. The American railroad mania began with the founding of the first passenger and freight line in the nation, being the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad in 1827, and the laying of the first stone and the beginning of its long construction heading westward over the obstacles of the Appalachian Mountains would begin in 1828, and the construction and expansion would continue for the next 45 years until the financial panic of 1873. Followed by a major economic depression, many companies went bankrupt and growth was halted. And here's a little look at a bridge, for example, an old bridge. And this is just one boring little part, nothing spectacular, perhaps hundreds similar to this must be built. The building of a train or a canal, once again, is so much more than what it initially seems in the passing. And how would that fit into the false narrative that the ancients had advanced.
If a nigga is stupid enough to think that just the foundation from which these tracks was laid on didn't take 30 to 40 years to use a fucking fool.
Trains and
Nigga, they didn't even construct these shits.
perhaps more advanced modes of transportation, if everything else in their lives were as impressive as their architecture.
Look at this. Niggas think that they was beginning the industrial age coming out of a fucking black plague, living in tents and log cabins, that they built some shit like this in the 1800s. Hey, all in, you gotta be a fucking retard. Your uncle's mama must have dropped you on your fucking head. You know, your mama was dealing with your daddy's brother, boy. You know, y'all all incest. You must have been dropped on your little retarded ass head, boy.
And here a little look in 1891, we can see a little section.
All in. Go take your ass and lay down in the chat. Lick your nuts, boy. This ain't for you. This for it's for the big dogs. So go sit your little retarded handicap ass down.
Of the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad, and absolutely impressive, connecting from New York City, clear over here.
If I'm pseudo, I bet you won't hit this link, you little retard. Watch this. That's how I punk little niggas out in the chat. Watch this. Bet you won't hit the link. Bet you won't hit this link, nigga.
To Chicago, and I'm not sure if all of these are smaller lines. They must be, as this is pre-automobile, and again, much of this construction going on in the mid-1800s, and very advanced to have this much rail lines, and at the very least, roads. And these are roads. I do recall seeing Indianapolis from above, and everything does lead to the center, like spokes in a hub. And again, the laying of the tracks themselves being the least of one's concerns. It's the laying of a level surface and cutting through the rugged wilderness of the early and mid-1800s, using the most primitive means available to our people in this time period, and very impressive and accurate map making. Here's one from 1876, again from the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad Company. And here we can see how far they got. And again, seeming as if these may be smaller transcontinental branches. But even so, 1876, the country is only founded 100 years ago.
I noticed that little retarded little bitch didn't hit that link, did y'all? Drop them fire emojis in the chat, man. Shout out to all my American Aborigines, man, my American Indians in the chat, man. I told y'all that little bitch wasn't gonna hit the link. Here, retard.
And such a small, unjustified population, and we could debate the need for such a mode of transport in this time period. But today I wanted to just consider the idea of constructing something like this using little more than human labor and horsepower. And here a little look at the founders of the Baltimore Railroad Company, with its roots going back to 1827. And here we go. 1827, no more than 50 years after the inception of our country. George Washington was said to have wooden teeth, and here they are prepared to build not only a rail system eventually across the nation, but to construct giant machines to make a leap from horse and wagon to giant trains of steel across an
Ain't no nigga with no wooden teeth constructing no shit like that, man. No fucking retarded honky with wooden teeth building none of these structures.
impossible wilderness. And again, perhaps, but perhaps not, seeming perfectly unnecessary and ridiculous for a people of this time. And here we're told the longest bridge in the United States was this Thomas Viaduct. Here we can have a little look at that in Maryland, completed in 1835. 1835, and here we go. Again, just to illustrate the point that the easiest part of constructing a rail system is the laying of the tracks themselves. This is absolutely over the top. 5 miles of this.
Yeah, 5 miles of this great brick structures. But they said honkies build it. Come on, man. Come on. You gotta be a fucking retard. Excuse my French. Shut a live stream. You gotta be a retard to think that these billies came in here and just started constructing this shit. Seriously. We the gods. This look like some brickworking that I've seen in South America. This look like Inca cobblestone archways. You know the Inca built roads too. Y'all ain't know that. Y'all ain't know the Inca built roads and railroads. Oh, my bad. My bad. My bad. What that little weirdo ass nigga in the chat? Told y'all he wanted
Quarrying stone, skilled mason.
That's one of Taz's little bitch ass millions. He gonna send them over here because he ain't gonna come over here and show up Saturday with his bitch ass.
And amazing engineering to have this baby run nice and level across this absolutely uneven terrain in the grandeur of 1835. Very impressive. And here real quick, while all this is going on, they're building underground subway stations. And again, who cares about the tracks?
Yeah, who cares about the tracks? Nigga, who built this concrete around it? Who built the concrete around the motherfucking tracks? Come on, man. This is City Hall subway station in 1906. This is magnificent.
Look at everything that is going on. Before we can even get to the tracks, we're digging massive holes, somehow structurally supporting the earth until you can come back and lay this amazing brickwork and pouring who knows how many yards of infinite concrete, and absolutely mind-blowing. In 1906, built underneath a city hall. Very remarkable. And here I was prompted by Peter Gibbons to check out this Napa State Hospital. It is said to have opened in 1875. No need to construct. Zero mention about any sort of construction. In the history, we're told the building was known as the Castle, an ornate and imposing building constructed with bricks. And the Insane Asylum in Napa, California, known for its fine wine. Who would have known there was such a need for a psychiatric hospital of this splendor in 1875?
Nigga, they already told you they don't know where the fuck it came from. They just opened up the building. They seen this shit in the woods. They called that bitch the castle. Somebody bought the land, hooked it up, turned that bitch to a public hospital, and that's what you see now, nigga. Simple as that. Stolen structures and technology, nigga.
Out in the hills of California. And I thank you for this fascinating share. And the hospital seems to be a repeated theme of designation for a castle-like structure. And here I was prompted to have a little look at the Cascade County Courthouse in Great Falls, Montana. Founded in 1887, it was constructed at a cost of $20,000. And let's see what $20,000 can buy. Here we go. The architecture, once again, of the Old West. The cowboys of Montana being very traditional when it came to their courthouses. Oh, and forgive me, it looks like this courthouse was built in 1901 to 1903. 2 years. Stone was quarried 6 miles away. A stone dome had been planned, but a copper dome was built instead. And here somebody shared something pretty interesting pertaining to this Romanian parliament building, supposedly built in 1984. Over the course of a dozen or so years, and most of the photos we see look similar to this. Still unsure, but what I found really fascinating about this share, and I do thank you for this, is these underground tunnel systems found underneath this parliament building, and clearly of a very old nature, and perhaps connecting with the anomalies, the potential remains of star forts, and something much older than any anomalies that we find on the surface. And very impressive. And again, similar stories of these tunnel systems being built in the same time periods with very primitive means. And here, this article was also sharing the intricate subway system that they built in the same late time period, only to let it fall into disrepair and abandon it completely. And very fascinating feats of engineering that make no sense. And moving on. Now, this next segment is going to be one of the scariest videos I've put out in a while. I felt it could be a risk to the channel, and I've decided to post it on my off-topic channel, or my backup channel, just in case it should raise any issues. Here I was simply going to show you the first minute of the video, and if you like it or are interested, I will leave the link below. I do hope you enjoy. And in this little segment, I wanted to share my joy and excitement. Truly, I have just hit the jackpot. Something that may seem small to some, but very exciting to me. The most exciting thing I have found in my research for some time. Typically, I share a different kind of research, as you all know, but this is my other passion, the research, as you all know, but this.
Look at this building. Look how it goes. Look at that. Just let that sink in for a second. Hold on. Let's just, because we seen New York is literally buried on some shit like this. Let's just let this sink in. Let's just let this sink in for a little sec. Can't let's just squeeze by that one.
This is my other passion, the law, and all the fraudulency that goes on within it. And how the more I study the law, the more I realize it is very beneficial to us. The only problem is we don't know it, and we don't know our rights. And this allows us to be tricked and trapped by governments and corporations who understand the system well. And what we find is when somebody else understands the system and shows their understanding and knowledge to these groups engaged in lies, typically they back off, only because they realize you know the truth, and it's game over. Well, that's it for today. I do hope you enjoyed, and do have a blessed day.
My boy be tweaking on falling grave. Look at him. Hey, but listen, I was gonna end the video right here, but since I fuck with y'all so much, I got one more video lined up for y'all. And if y'all want me to get to that video, I need y'all to drop the fire emojis in the chat, and let's get 150 likes in here. Let's get 150 likes. Y'all give me 150 likes, we lit. Can y'all do that for me? Support the channel. Give me 150 likes, and let's get a couple more people to support the channel. So we already got 150 likes. Damn, I just looked. We got 166 likes. Damn. We turned up on with the motherfucking like. Well, let's at least get somebody to support the channel. You know what I'm saying? One good time for your boy Ski. You know what I'm saying? Y'all can do that for your boy Ski. All right, let's get right into the video, man. I ain't gonna hold y'all up any longer, man. We're gonna get right to it. Drop them fire emojis. You know what I mean? Shout out to the American Aborigines, man. Damn, it feel good to be Aborigine, man. Let's get right into it.
I am seeing that there was an ancient advanced global civilization called the Moorish Empire, instead of the historical narrative we have been taught about who built the world's infrastructure, perhaps with different empires within empire, like Washita, Phoenician, Tartarian, Ottoman, etc., but one unified worldwide civilization with its roots in ancient Mu or Lemuria and Atlantis. My name is Michelle Gibson. Based on my research, I take very seriously the belief among many researchers that there was a relatively recent worldwide mudflood liquefaction event that wiped out an advanced civilization, and then there was a subsequent historical reset of the timeline by those responsible for the cataclysm. I do not believe the mudflood resulted from natural causes. The Washita Moors, M-U'-U-R-S, are an ancient people of North America living in the present day, and the recently deceased Washita Empress Verdiasi was presented a charter by the United Nations in 1993, recognizing the Washita as the oldest indigenous civilization on Earth. Why hasn't the general public ever heard of them? Master Moorish masons of the ancient ones were the master builders of civilization, and their handiwork is all over the planet, from ancient to what would be considered relatively modern. The Moors were and are the custodians of the ancient Egyptian mysteries. All of their Moorish science symbolism was taken over by other groups claiming to be them, falsely claiming their works or piggybacking on their legacy, or given a darker meaning by association with certain things that were not the original meaning. Islam in its original form is about applied sacred geometry and universal laws. Islam is a word that means peace, and when Moors greet each other, they typically say Islam or peace in greeting. It was nothing like the weaponized form of radical Islam that is playing a divisive and destructive role in the world today and is not in accordance with humanity's best interests. Radical Islam and Sharia law is what was put in place by European Freemasonry and other secret groups to take down Western civilization. Just as Christianity was weaponized against the ancient civilization, including the creation of institutions like the Spanish Inquisition in 1478, and Catholic orders, including but not limited to the creation of the Jesuits by Pope Paul III in 1540, that included a special vow of obedience to the Pope in matters of mission direction and assignment. Like the destruction of the ancient civilization, this is another human and social engineering process that has nothing to do with benefiting humanity. Problem, reaction, solution. In this case, the destabilization of Western civilization by radical Islam is going to be restored to order by the New World Order, or so they planned. I personally believe very soon we will be seeing high-level criminals being held accountable for their crimes, and I will continue to believe so. I do not believe they will get away with the multitude and magnitude of crimes against humanity that have been committed. In yet another example of the appropriation of Moorish symbolism, this is the Great Seal of the Moors on the left, and on the right, the symbol on the back of the United States $1 bill. In my video, an explanation for what happened to the positive timeline of humanity and associated historical events and anomalies, I shared an extremely cold weather event in the historical record in Ireland.
Hey, this video is fire. I need y'all to hit the like button. Let's get a couple more people to support the channel. Cash App and PayPal information is at the bottom of the screen, man. Let's get right into it, man. Let's get right into it. Support the channel, man.
Ireland between 1740 and 1741, as well as my thoughts about how an artificial time loop was created between 1492 and 1942, with 1717 as the midpoint year between the two. More on the latter after the weather event in Ireland. First, on the extreme cold weather in Ireland, Irish historian David Dixon talks about this little-known event in his book, Arctic Ireland. I explored the idea that this event was related to the hijack of the original timeline, and that this was the point where a new timeline was pinned. The Irish population endured 21 months of bizarre weather without known precedent that defied conventional explanation. The cause is not known. Shortly after I learned about the cold weather event in Ireland, I was connected by someone to the mudflood community.
Damn, this is a top of a building that's obviously been covered up in dirt. So if this ain't evidence of a mud flood, then what the fuck is? Nigga, this the top of the building. Nigga, how long would it have took to dug all the way up to the core there, bitch, to the foundation?
I learned about the fantastic research that is being done by people looking at their own communities and other places around the world as strong evidence that there was a cataclysmic event involving a massive flood of mud as recently as 200 to 300 years ago.
Yep, they call it the Madrid earthquake.
It is being called a reset event, and photographic evidence exists that buildings, canals, rail lines, tunnels.
Damn, let this photo sink in for a second. Let this photo sink in for a second. Can we do that for a sec? Can we let this sink in for a second? Shout out to Miss Stevenson's for the Cash Out donation. Shout out to Miss Stevenson's supporting the channel with the Cash Out donation. And shout out to Matthew. Matthew said for supporting the $2 challenge, man. Shout out to Matthew and shout out to Miss Stevenson's for the Cash Out donation. Make sure y'all support the channel, man. The $2 challenge is still in effect. That's for everybody in the chat, man. Everybody viewing this. Shout out to all American Aborigines. We're going to keep looking at this hidden, covered up, and buried history that they don't want to talk about. Let this photo sink in, though. Look at this structure right here with wooden planks and mud. And look at these niggas standing around. Even enough people around this bitch. Look at this. Damn.
Among other things, were purposefully dug out after the event to the point where they could be used. Over the years, I have filled my head with information about megaliths. Long before I became aware of what I am sharing, I learned about such places as the Sphinx in Egypt having been dug out. As well as the famous heads of Easter Island.
Damn, that's true.
That were found to have bodies, too. The explanation of a mud flood makes a lot of sense to me based on what I'm finding and seeing. A sudden cataclysmic liquefaction event creating a flood of mud accounts for how a highly advanced worldwide civilization of giants.
Y'all chill in the chat. Don't block nobody. It's all good. Let them live, Tayshawn. Stall him out.
Could be wiped from the face of the earth and erased from our collective memory. This is an historic photo of St. Petersburg, Russia, of vastly smaller and hardly any people relative to the size of the city in the background and the foot in the foreground. We see the same relative emptiness and the contrast of the massive size of the architecture and the small size of the people in this historic photo of Paris. And this rather empty and rustic looking photo with virtually no one in it, taken at the beginning of the 20th century of the trilogy, 3 major buildings said to have been built in the mid to late 1800s in Athens, Greece.
Why is it Negroes in Athens, Greece, though? Do these look like Negroes to you? Let me put this bitch on HD. Make sure we ain't bullshit.
3 major buildings said to have been built in the mid to late 1800s in Athens, Greece.
Does that look like Athens to y'all? That's wild.
Next, I will provide the findings of my research of the historical record around the year of 1717. There are 450 years in between 1492 and 1942, and the midpoint at 225 years is 1717. Based on what I found when I started looking at historical events from around 1717 to 1942, I believe the extremely cold weather event in Ireland was deliberately caused and is connected to the mud flood and the historical reset. In 1714, King George I of the German House of Hanover became King of Great Britain and Ireland. This marked the end of the rule of the House of Stuart, which originated in Scotland. On January 4th, 1717, Great Britain, France, and the Dutch Republic signed the Triple Alliance in an attempt to maintain the Treaty of Utrecht, which was signed in April of 1713, in which, in order to become King of Spain, Philip had to renounce his concurrent claim to the French throne. This prevented the thrones of Spain and France from merging together and ultimately paved the way for the maritime, commercial, and financial supremacy of Great Britain. In February of 1717, James Francis Edward Stuart of the House of Stuart, called the Pretender, who at one time...
Oh, that's the whitewash version. That's the original photo. Damn. Look like a little nigga, man. Look like a little light skin. You know what I mean? Look like a Kevin Gates in the face with the fro, man. You know what I mean? Damn. They be doing the whitewash. Damn. Cuz got a fro. That's why it don't even make sense to see Cuz white boy with the fro.
Was claimant to the throne, left where he was living in France after the Triple Alliance was signed in January to seek exile with Pope Clement XI in Rome. Why he went specifically there, I don't know, but he died in Rome in 1766. This is believed to be a portrait of James Francis Edward Stuart that was painted when he lived in France on the left, and the typical portrait of him on the right. On June 24th, but he died in Rome in the Triple Alliance was claimant Edward Stuart of the House. In February of 1717, James Francis Edward Stuart of the House of Stuart, called the Pretender, who at one time was claimant to the throne, left where he was living in France after the Triple Alliance was signed in January to seek exile with Pope Clement XI in Rome. Why he went specifically there, I don't know, but he died in Rome in 1766. This is believed to be a portrait of James Francis Edward Stuart that was painted when he lived in France on the left, and the typical portrait of him on the right. On June 24th, 1717, the premier Grand Lodge of England, the first Freemason Grand Lodge, was founded in London. I find it highly significant that this event shows up at the exact midpoint year between 1492 and 1942. And then on 7/17/1717, an interesting date from a numerological perspective, the premiere of Georg Friedrich Handel's water music took place for King George I on a barge on
A water musical. The fuck?
Georg Friedrich Handel's water music took place for King George I on a barge on the River Thames. Eyes are now on Handel. In 1727, Georg Friedrich Handel, the German, becomes George Frederick Handel, a British citizen. Then I was guided through a psychic friend to look at Ireland in 1742 in my research. So I searched for it on the internet and only two things came up. The first was that Dublin, Ireland was the location for the premiere of George Frederick Handel's Messiah on April 13, 1742. And the other thing that came up was the extraordinary cold weather event in Ireland between 1740 and 1741. So Handel's Messiah premieres in Dublin right after the extremely cold, lethal weather event.
Don't make sense.
Who else shows up during this same time period? Well, in 1744, Mayer Rothschild was born in Frankfurt, Germany. He established his banking business there in the 1760s, which became the start of an international banking family. Then on February 6, 1748, Bavarian Illuminati founder in the 1760s, Frankfurt, Germany. He established in 1744, Mayer Rothschild was born in Frankfurt.
The damn Rothschilds. Y'all remember what happened with the Rothschilds, right? Remember what they did in America? Remember what they did? Look at the newspaper article. Take a quick glimpse. I just want y'all to lock in real quick. Read the newspaper article. Dealing with these demons, right? This is in 1927. You feel me?
For Germany. He established his banking business there in the 1760s, which became the start of an international banking family. Then on February 6, 1748, Bavarian Illuminati founder Adam Weishaupt was born in Ingolstadt, Bavaria, Germany. He went to a Jesuit school at the age of 7 and was initiated into Freemasonry in 1777. In 1839, John D. Rockefeller Sr. was born in the United States, the progenitor of the wealthy Rockefeller.
You see what I'm saying? Let me go back to the newspaper article again. We seen Rothschilds that they just talked about. Now they talking about Rockefeller. Read the article. I'm going to let that sink in real quick so y'all get a quick glimpse. I'm going to let y'all get a quick glimpse. Now, look, that's him in the photo right there at the bottom looking old. That's him when he was young. That's him when he was a little younger. That's him when he was a little older. Let's talk about it. All right. I just want to put that on the screen so y'all can read it real quick.
Rockefeller family, and considered to be the wealthiest American of all time. He founded the Standard Oil Company in 1870. Fast forward to the time period of November 20th through November 30th in 1910. A meeting took place at Jekyll Island off the coast of the state of Georgia to lay the foundations of the Federal Reserve.
Damn, who knew it took place outside of Georgia, Jekyll Island? The whole conversation about what they was going to do with the Federal Reserve, that conversation took place in Jekyll Island outside of Georgia. All in. Hey, somebody block All In at the chat. Get his ass the fuck out of here. Because his bitch ass didn't hop on the panel. We ain't letting no hoe ass bitch ass niggas comment in my chat. Only the real niggas get to comment in my shit. Get this bitch ass nigga the fuck out of here. Nigga, you block, nigga. If you want to hit the link. But you can't comment, nigga. Hit on the link, nigga. Hit the link. It's in the chat. It been in the chat. Stop asking for the link. It's my last time putting it in there. Pussy ass boy.
30th in 1910. A meeting took place at Jekyll Island off the coast of the state of Georgia to lay the foundations of the Federal Reserve. The sinking of the Titanic took place on April 15th, 1912. All the bankers opposed to the creation of the Federal Reserve were on board, including John Jacob Astor IV, one of the richest people in the world at the time. It is interesting to note that the annual due date for taxes in the United States is the same as the anniversary of the sinking of the Titanic.
The annual taxes of the United States would have took place on the same day the Titanic would have been destroyed. So niggas skipped out on their taxes, faked their death, and came over here and try to get on through the banking system, creating this fiat.
Then on December 23, 1913, the Federal Reserve Act passed Congress and was signed into law by President Woodrow Wilson. It created and established the Federal Reserve System and created the authority to issue Federal Reserve notes, commonly known as the United States dollar, as legal tender. On July 17, 1917, the reigning royal house of the United Kingdom and its Commonwealth, the House of Windsor, was founded after the death of Queen Victoria. It is also of German paternal descent. And there's that 17 numerology showing up again. World War II started on September 1st, 1939, and ended on September 2nd in 1945, exactly 6 years later. It is considered the deadliest conflict in human history. Almost halfway through World War II, on July 22nd of 1942, the strange Philadelphia experiment took place at the Philadelphia Naval Shipyard. Did the USS Eldridge just become invisible? Or did it go somewhere else? And if it went somewhere else, where might it have gone? What was the real purpose of the Philadelphia experiment? I think it was a deliberate manipulation of time-space and how the new artificial timeline or loop I am talking about was somehow inserted. Our new history was grafted onto the existing infrastructure of the planet and falsely attributed in the new historical narrative. The world history we have been taught is filled with war and violence, death and destruction, which was not our original evolutionary path. Now to tie the mud flood together with the historical reset timeline based on my research findings. If in fact the mud flood causal event took place in 1740 and 1741, it would have taken a while to dig infrastructure out and get it to the point where it could be used once again. Who was responsible for the excavation? Those who became the ruling class and or their associates, and bankers, oilmen, transportation magnates, manufacturers, etc.
And go back to the photo we just seen with the underworld. That's really the underworld. It really exists. It's an underworld that they try to bury, which is your ancient past. Don't let them keep burying our history, burying our past and our lineage innovations.
Transportation magnates, manufacturers, etc. I believe the official start of the historical reset timeline and the grand opening of the New World Order was the great exhibition of the works of industry of all.
I'm gonna do a build on the Philadelphia experiment. I'm gonna do a whole build on that, man. That might be one of the ones I do tomorrow, maybe even tonight. I don't know.
Nations of 1851. Held in the Crystal Palace in Hyde Park in London, it was the first in a series of World's Fairs, exhibitions, and expositions that I believe over the next 100 years or so were showcasing the technology and architectural wonders of the original civilization before being hidden away or forever destroyed. This was a scene at the New York World Fair of 1939 to 1940, almost 100 years later, where we still see incredibly big, what appear to be luminescent structures in the background, and in the foreground, statues much bigger than the size of the people standing near them. Also in 1851, the Royal Observatory at Greenwich became the world's prime meridian. Prior to the time of moving it to Greenwich in England, the Great Pyramid of Giza in Egypt was the ancient prime meridian of the Earth. Commodore Matthew Perry played a leading role in the opening of Japan starting on July 8th of 1853 when he led 4 U.S. Navy ships ordered by President Millard Fillmore to Tokyo.
Tiffany Rivers, what's going on? Tiffany, you gotta unmute yourself.
Hey.
Peace and listen, sister. How you feeling?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm doing fine. You got a comment or a statement you want to talk about on the bill before we move on?
No,
All
I'm
right.
just listening. Thank
Okay.
you.
No problem. Shout out to Sister Tiffany on here, man. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to all the empresses in the chat. Matter of fact, can we get some love shown for the empresses in the chat? Make sure y'all drop some fire emojis. Throw out the balloons, the hearts. Show some love to all the empresses in the chat, man. Shout out to all y'all in the chat. Appreciate y'all.
Obey with the mission of forcing the opening of Japanese ports to American trade by any means necessary. After threatening to burn Tokyo to the ground, he was allowed to land and deliver a letter with United States demands to the Tokugawa shogun Ieyoshi. The shogun Ieyoshi died a short time after Perry's departure in July of 1853, leaving effective administration in the hands of the Council of Elders, though nominally to his sickly son, Aisada, who was the last Tokugawa shogun from 1853 to 1858. The Tokugawa shogunate is called the last feudal Japanese military government. Ruling from 1600 to 1868 from Edo Castle in Tokyo. Here's a photo of one of the polygonal megalithic walls found on the grounds of Edo Castle.
Damn, look at this compared to, now let's look at this stone masonry compared to some of the stone masonry that we've seen in America. Hopewell, Inca, Maya, Olmec, Toltec, Peruvian, ancient Peruvian corral. These are the same blocking work.
Megalithic walls found on the grounds of Edo Castle. Compared with this exquisite example of polygonal masonry at the Coricancha in Cusco, Peru. Polygonal masonry is defined.
Told y'all they was gonna compare it. Look at it. I've been identifying these structures for a long time. I know what they're going to say. It's only a couple people that build with this masonry architectural design, with this mathematics, with this type of language. Mind you, structure building is a form of geometry. Geometry is a form of language. The way you build tells how the language that you're speaking. Obviously, these are people who are speaking the same language. Not everybody spoke what these people spoke or talked about what these people talked about.
Defined as a technique where the visible surfaces of the stone are dressed with straight edges or joints, giving the stone the appearance of a polygon with minimal clearance between stones and no mortar. Perry returned again with 8 naval vessels in February of 1854, and on March 31st of 1854, the Japanese Emperor Komei signed the Japan and United States Treaty of Peace and Amity at the Convention of Kanagawa under threat of force of the Japanese government. Did not open the ports of Shimoda and Hakodate to American vessels. It looks to me like the Japanese Empire was perhaps not taken out by the mud flood and needed to be acquired by threat of force.
Look at that, like a damn star fort.
The star fort of Goryokaku at Hakodate on Hokkaido is located on the Tsugaru Strait of the Sea of Japan between the Japanese islands of Honshu and Hokkaido. In another part of this series, I will show the numerous star forts, including the one at Hakodate, that I have encountered on planetary alignments. I didn't know they were there in advance and found them in my research for these videos when I was tracking various planetary alignments. The information I am sharing with you now comes from Circle Alignments on the Planet Amsterdam Island, Part 8, Chongqing, North Korea to Yokohama, Japan. The Sea of Japan is enclosed between the islands of Japan, Sakhalin Island, the Korean Peninsula, and Russia. The Strait of Tartary of the Sea of Japan divides Sakhalin Island from southeast Russia and connecting the Sea of Japan with the Sea of Okhotsk. The 51st parallel north passes right through here, a circle of latitude that is 51 degrees north of the equatorial plane. The capital cities of London, England, and Astana, Kazakhstan, are on the same latitude as the Strait of Tartary. It is significant to note that the Sea of Japan was one of the major theaters of operations of the Russo-Japanese War of 1904 and 1905, where these two countries fought over rival imperial ambitions in Manchuria and Korea, and in which Japan defeated Russia. The vast region depicted on this map in purple was called Chinese Tartary. The regions in yellow were considered independent Tartary. The name of Manchuria was said to have come into use in Europe in the 1800s, thus hiding the true identity of this part of the world. These were early steps in the eventual establishment by the Japanese of the puppet state of Manchukuo within the historical region of Chinese Tartary in 1933. The last emperor of China, Puyi, was first installed by the Japanese as chief executive of Manchukuo, and he became its emperor in 19...
Man, knock this little colorful ass nigga ass the fuck out. Hit his ass with one of them in his chin, his jaw gonna break. You feel me? I clean this man chin. I was gonna spit a bar, man. I ain't gonna do it.
In 1934, a position he held until 1945, when he abdicated as a result of the end of World War II. His life story is very sad and is told in the movie The Last Emperor, directed by Bernardo Bertolucci. I believe all of this was positioning on the part of not only the United States, but Japan and other powers of the region to ultimately take control of the fabulous technology of the Tartarian Empire of Northeast Asia, the same advanced technology of which was found worldwide, and which I believe our modern energy system is based on. See my video, Relationship Between the Planetary Grid, Technology of the Ancient Civilization, and the Modern Energy Industry. Like I said at the beginning of this video, I believe the Tartarian Empire was part of the Moorish Empire and not the other way around. In 1803, the Ames Shovel Works was established in Easton, Massachusetts. It became nationally known for providing the shovels for the Union Pacific Railroad, which opened the West. It was said to have been the world's largest supplier of shovels in the 19th century. Oliver Ames Jr. was a co-owner of the Ames Shovel Shop. He was also the president of the Union Pacific Railroad from when it met the Central Pacific Railroad.
Luell Girl Roots, I swear, I was going to say cuz look like Pee Wee Herman too, cuz. Who look just like Pee Wee. Nigga look just like Pee Wee. On everything.
He was also the president of the Union Pacific Railroad from when it met the Central Pacific Railroad in Utah for the completion of the first transcontinental railroad in North.
We got 182 in here. Let's get 182 likes in the building, man. Let's get 180 likes in the building. Shout out to all the American Aborigines tuning in. I want to say peace and blessings to all y'all. Appreciate y'all for coming in. Make sure y'all support the channel. If y'all want to support the channel, Cash App and PayPal information is at the bottom of the screen, ticking across. Make sure y'all support the channel.
North America. He was co-owner of the Ames Shovel Shop with his brother Oakes Ames. Oakes was a member of the U.S. Congress House of Representatives from Massachusetts' 2nd District from 1863 to 1873. He is credited by many as being the most important influence in the building of the Union Pacific portion of the first transcontinental railroad. He was also noted for his involvement in the Credit Mobilier scandal of 1867 regarding the improper sale of stock of the railroad's construction company. He was formally censured by Congress in 1873 for this involvement, and he died in the same year. He was exonerated after his death by the Massachusetts State Legislature on May 10, 1883, the 10th anniversary of the completion of the Transcontinental Railroad. This is the Ames Monument near Laramie in Wyoming. This pyramid was said to have been designed and built between 1880 and 1882 and dedicated to the Ames brothers for their role in financing the Union Pacific Railroad. On the eastern seaboard of the United States, the Raritan River Railroad was a 12-mile short-line railroad operating freight and passenger service in Middlesex County, New Jersey, said to have been built in 1888 when the peak of railroad building in the United States was subsiding in the late 1800s. This is the logo for the Raritan River Railroad.
And this is the shit for Rolls Royce. Hell no. Man, shout out to everybody in the chat, man. If y'all enjoying the build, support the channel. Like I said, Cash Out and PayPal information is on the screen, man. Make sure y'all support the channel, man. We already hit the 2-hour marker. We already lit, man. Make sure y'all support the channel. Make sure y'all support the channel. If y'all can hear me loud and clear, thumb up the video, man. Let's get it.
on the left, and on the right, the logo for Rolls-Royce. The similarity between these two logos tells me these two companies were connected in some way. Besides the fact the logos look virtually identical, it brings to mind what I found when I was looking at Derby, England. I found Derby near the Algiers Circle alignment as I was tracking it through England. Derby is the geographic center of England, and the Derwent River Valley in Derbyshire is considered the birthplace of the Industrial Revolution. Rolls-Royce is a global aerospace, defense, energy, and marine company focused on world-class power and propulsion systems.
What?
And its civil aerospace and nuclear divisions are in Derby.
Damn, did y'all know that about Rolls-Royce? Let me run that shit back.
Of England, and the Derwent River Valley in Derbyshire is considered the birthplace of the Industrial Revolution. Rolls-Royce is a global aerospace, defense, energy, and marine company focused on world-class power and propulsion systems, and its civil aerospace and nuclear divisions are in Derby. As well as the Railway Technical Centre, the technical headquarters of British Rail, and considered the largest railway research complex in the world. And Derby is a location of Bombardier Transportation, the rail equipment division of the Canadian company Bombardier, and for many years the United Kingdom's only train manufacturer. There are certainly interconnecting pieces of the puzzle to be found lying around these tidbits of what seems to be otherwise disconnected information. I think all of the railroad tracks were dug out, and that locomotives and railroad cars were pre-existing as well.
Look, this is Charleston, South Carolina, 1865. This is one of the most famous evidences of a mud flood is in Charleston, South Carolina, 1865. Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. I want to say shout out to the anonymous person that supported the channel, supporting the channel with the Cash App donation. We appreciate that. Shout out to the brother that said they wanted to stay anonymous. Appreciate you, God. Appreciate you for tapping in and supporting the channel, man. We appreciate that. Let's continue the live, man.
I think it was an electrified railroad system prior to the mud flood. And when the planetary free energy grid was taken down, most energy sources for mass transportation were replaced by oil and coal. I will be doing separate videos on trains, trams, and subways. Among other things, the new reliance on fossil fuels, etc., was a basis of the fabulous wealth of nouveau riche families. I am sharing what I have been able to piece together from what I found when I looked at the historical record during this time in order to provide a framework for how I came to my conclusions. There is still much to be accounted for because of all of the fabrication and whitewash that has taken place, and who knows exactly.
Hey, man, shout out to the beautiful Gretchen Hams, too, man. Shout out to the beautiful elder Gretchen Hams for supporting the channel, man, sending in the Cash App donation as well. Shout out to Gretchen Hams. We appreciate all the support. Man, that's it for today's video, man. We it. I just want to highlight, man, like I said, a lot of this history they burying, we got to dig up. Some might call it Lemuria Mu. Some might call it the Moorish Empire. Some might call it Atlantis. No matter what you call it, the evidence shows that it was a very advanced civilization, and the overwhelming evidence of it is accumulating in the Americas, dominantly in North America. You wonder why you don't find pyramids and all these other things here, is because when you get into historical narratives, you will understand that the people in North America started to create and take on a more different design when it comes to their building. They dealt with urban planning. They had a taxation system. It was a sanitization and transportation system that was going on. And when we get into our pay-per-view, we will be proving that all these systems, all the things that you've been seeing in these last 24 videos has been around for thousands of years, according to documentation and according to primary documentation and all the experts that agree on it. We will be getting into that. Me and my brother A1 will be doing a pay-per-view on that. So we would like to get everybody in the chat that's here tuned in and to support the actual pay-per-view, me and A1 will be providing overwhelming evidence of everything that you've seen in the last 24 days has already been around and documented thousands of years ago. Thousands. All right. So then with that being said, make sure y'all support the channel. Cash App and PayPal information is at the bottom of the screen. Don't leave out without support, man. You got to support the real. I support y'all. If y'all need anything, y'all want me to promote anything, email me. If y'all want to talk about something, got a question about something, email me. You know what I'm saying? Big Aboriginal Power is here for the community. I'm here to serve you guys. You understand me? In order to serve you guys, in order to be here for you guys, I have to make myself accessible. And I've been Mr. Accessible. I've been Mr. Consistent. You know what I mean? So, hey, I'm here, man. Shout out to y'all, man. Shout out to all the American Aborigines in the chat. Keep doing what y'all doing, man. The hate is real, but the love is realer. You understand me? The hate is real, but the love is realer. You understand what I'm saying? With that being said, shout out to all the American Aborigines in the chat. Peace and blessings. Make sure y'all be safe. Make sure y'all stay aware. Make sure y'all stay vigilant. Make sure y'all stay dangerous. It's your brother Aboriginal Power, and we out. Peace. Oh, before we go, I want to see if the sister Jasmine wanted to say something. But all right, since we out, peace.
Whatever it takes. The alleyway.
Coco, this your season right now.
They won't see me. They won't let me, yeah. I gotta sleep with one eye open, been making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the strap. I know the eyes wanna murder. I got a feeling in my stomach, paranoid, yeah. I won't let them, yeah. They won't see me, yeah. I gotta sleep with one eye open, been making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the strap. I know the eyes wanna murder. I got a feeling in my stomach, paranoid, yeah. I can't let them, yeah. They won't see me, yeah. I put attention, all of my blood, all of my veins. They started with perky, now that hair right up his veins. You started with serving, now them drugs drove you insane. Started with dealing, I grew up with killers, they taught me the game. I got some niggas that die behind, and that shit won't never the same. I know some niggas that lie behind, and that bullet had his name. Ain't no reason to cry about, cause that shit won't never change. MTF the 4th and P, my niggas can't get out the game. I gotta sleep with one eye open, been making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the strap. I know the eyes wanna murder. I got a feeling in my stomach, paranoid, yeah. I won't let them, yeah. They won't see me, yeah. I gotta sleep with one eye open, been making me nervous. I take a piss, my hand on the strap. I know the eyes wanna murder. I got a feeling in my stomach, paranoid, yeah. I can't let them, yeah.